Welcome to your weather update. As we move deeper into the fall, it's important to remember that the Atlantic hurricane season is still ongoing, and the potential for impactful storms remains high. It's October, and while the air is getting cooler and leaves are changing, the tropics are still active. Many people associate hurricanes with the peak of summer, but history shows that October can be just as dangerous, if not more so, for certain regions. The official hurricane season runs through the end of November, and some of the most memorable and destructive storms have formed during this late-season window. In fact, October has produced hurricanes that have caught communities off guard, reminding us not to let our guard down. As we transition into October, the areas where storms form begin to shift. Instead of seeing most systems develop off the coast of Africa, we now see more activity closer to home, in the Caribbean Sea, the Gulf of Mexico, and just off the southeastern U.S. coast. These regions become hotspots for storm development as ocean temperatures remain warm and atmospheric conditions stay favorable. These so-called homegrown systems can spin up quickly, sometimes with only a few days' notice. That means less time to prepare, making it even more important to stay weather aware and have a plan in place. As of today, we're closely monitoring two areas of concern in the Atlantic Basin. The first is a low-pressure system near the Bahamas and Florida, which could bring heavy rain, gusty winds, and rough surf to coastal communities if it develops further. The second is a tropical wave just about to emerge from the coast of Africa. While it's still early, these waves can sometimes organize quickly as they move westward across the Atlantic. So we'll be watching this one closely in the days ahead. This combination of storm threats, one close to the US and another far out in the Atlantic, is unusual for October. It's a reminder that the atmosphere can still surprise us, and that vigilance is key as we move through the final weeks of hurricane season. Warm ocean waters continue to fuel these systems, and the atmosphere remains supportive for development. As long as these ingredients are in place, the risk for tropical storms and hurricanes isn't over. In this update, we'll break down what the latest forecast models are showing for both systems, discuss their potential impacts, and explain why the tropics remain so active this late in the season. Stay informed and stay prepared. Let's take a closer look at what's happening out there and what you can do to stay safe as hurricane season continues. The hurricane season isn't done yet, and neither are we. We'll keep you updated every step of the way so you're ready for whatever the tropics may bring. Our first focus is a low-pressure system that's currently swirling just north of the Bahamas, sitting uncomfortably close to the Florida coastline. This system, while not yet organized enough to earn a name, is already making its presence felt across the region. It's a classic example of how even unnamed weather systems can have a significant impact, especially when they linger near warm ocean waters and interact with the humid air over the southeast. The National Hurricane Center is keeping a close eye on it, but right now, they give it only a 10% chance of developing into a named tropical storm over the next couple of days. That might sound reassuring, but don't let the low odds lull you into a false sense of security. Sometimes the biggest threats come from systems that never get a name at all. The real story here isn't about wind or storm surge, it's about rain. This low-pressure area is acting like a conveyor belt, pulling deep tropical moisture straight from the Atlantic and dumping it over Florida. The result? Widespread, persistent downpours that could last for hours or even days, depending on how slowly the system moves. Forecasts suggest that 4 to 8 inches of rain are possible in many areas, with some isolated spots potentially seeing even higher totals if thunderstorms repeatedly move over the same locations. That's enough to quickly overwhelm drainage systems and cause problems for neighborhoods and roadways. Flooding is likely, especially in low-lying and poorly drained areas. Streets could become impassable, and water may rise quickly in places that are prone to flooding during heavy rain events. Even though this system doesn't have a name, it can still cause major disruptions to daily life. Commuters could face delays, and outdoor plans may need to be changed at a moment's notice. Remember, it's the impacts that matter, not the label. And it's not just Florida that needs to be on alert. Rain bands from this system could stretch northward into Georgia and South Carolina, bringing the risk of heavy rain and localized flooding to those states as well. Residents along the southeast coast should stay informed and be ready for changing conditions. Slow-moving systems like this are notorious for producing extreme rainfall in a short period of time. When storms stall or crawl along the coast, the same areas can get drenched over and over, increasing the risk of flash flooding. Flooding is the main concern right now, so take steps to protect your property. Clear leaves and debris from storm drains and gutters to help water flow away from your home. Small actions like these can make a big difference when heavy rain hits. If you live in a flood-prone area, have a plan in place. Prepare emergency supplies, consider sandbags if needed, and know your evacuation routes just in case conditions worsen unexpectedly. Our team will be tracking this system closely over the next few days, monitoring any changes in its strength or movement. We'll bring you updates as new information comes in, so you can stay ahead of the weather. Remember, the real threat here is the rain, not the storm's name. Stay alert, stay prepared, and keep an eye on the forecast as this soaking system continues to impact the southeast coast. To predict what's next, we turn to computer models. Both the American GFS and European models agree. Florida faces a very wet weekend. The low drifts slowly, fueling rounds of heavy rain and storms before possibly moving into the Gulf of Mexico. If it enters the Gulf, warm waters could give it a second chance to strengthen. For now, the main impact is flooding rain, especially for Florida's east coast. Gulf Coast residents should monitor this system next week. Model agreement gives us high confidence in the forecast. Prepare for flooding. Development into a named storm is a secondary concern. The rain is the story for Florida this weekend. Now let's look far east. A strong tropical wave is about to emerge off Africa. It's unusual for October, but this wave could develop as it crosses the Atlantic. The National Hurricane Center gives it a 20% chance of development, possibly rising soon. It's a long-range system, at least 10 days from the Caribbean, with plenty of time to organize. There's high uncertainty. Small changes now can mean big differences later. No immediate threat to land, but we'll monitor it closely. The next named storm could be Jerry, but it's too early to tell. For now, just keep an eye on updates. We'll track its progress and potential. Forecast models disagree on the African wave's future. The GFS model shows a strong hurricane near the Caribbean in about 10 days, a dramatic but unlikely scenario. The Euro model predicts a weaker system turning north, away from land. Other models, including Canadian and AI-based ones, also show less development. Ensemble models run many scenarios. Most suggest a turnout to sea, but a few bring it closer to the Caribbean. Bottom line, there's high uncertainty, and the worst-case GFS scenario is low probability. The most likely outcome is a weaker storm curving away from land. This is a classic wait-and-see situation. Stay aware, but don't panic over a single model run. We'll keep you updated as the picture becomes clearer. Why are storms still forming in October? You might think hurricane season would be winding down by now, but the reality is, October remains a surprisingly active month for tropical storms and hurricanes. Let's break down the science behind this late-season activity. It's all about ocean heat and atmospheric conditions. Even as the days get shorter and the air cools, the ocean holds on to summer's warmth. This lingering heat is a key ingredient for storm formation. The Atlantic, Caribbean, and Gulf of Mexico are still very warm, often above 80 degrees Fahrenheit. That's more than enough fuel for storms to develop and strengthen, especially when the upper ocean layers remain heated from months of summer sun. Warm water supports rapid intensification, even late in the season. When a disturbance moves over these hot waters, it can quickly grow into a powerful storm, sometimes catching communities off guard. Wind shear, those changing winds at different altitudes, does start to increase in October, especially off the coast of Africa. This usually makes it harder for storms to form in the eastern Atlantic. As a result, storms tend to shift westward, tracking toward the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico, where the water is warmest and wind shear is often lower. These regions become the new hotspots for late-season development. It's a tug of war. Autumn wind shear tries to shut things down, but ocean heat keeps the door open. The atmosphere and ocean are locked in a battle, and sometimes, the ocean wins. That's why we see late-season storms forming closer to the U.S. coastline. These storms can develop quickly and threaten land with little warning, making October a month to watch closely. The combination of warm water and occasional calm pockets in the atmosphere keeps the risk alive. Even when the weather seems quiet, the ingredients for a storm can come together fast. October is a transition month, but not a quiet one. The clash between lingering summer heat and encroaching autumn winds creates a unique window for powerful storms. So, stay vigilant. The season isn't over yet. Understanding the science behind October's storms can help you stay prepared and safe as hurricane season continues. There's another factor, the Madden-Julian Oscillation, or MJO. The MJO is a pulse of rising air that circles the tropics, making storm formation more likely when it's overhead. A favorable MJO phase is moving over the Gulf, Caribbean, and Western Atlantic from October 6th to 15th. This could help the Florida system organize or spark new storms in the region. The MJO doesn't guarantee storms, but it boosts the odds. Combined with warm water, it's a recipe for late-season activity. We're also watching the Bay of Campeche and Southern Gulf for possible new development. Advanced models hint at a third system in about 10 days. The MJO signals a more active period ahead. Be prepared. Here's what to expect in Florida and the East Coast this week. Florida will see heavy rain, clouds, and storms, especially in the east. Outdoor plans? Have a backup. Flooding is a real risk. Temperatures will be cooler than usual, but humidity stays high. The wet pattern could last into early next week. Georgia and the Carolinas may see some rain, but the heaviest stays in Florida. Later next week, a cold front will sweep in, bringing drier, cooler air and a true taste of autumn. Dew points will drop, and muggy conditions will finally break. After a soggy start, expect a much nicer, drier pattern by midweek. Relief is on the way for the southeast. Beyond the tropics, there's plenty happening across the U.S. The west sees scattered showers, welcome moisture for the region. The central U.S. enjoys quiet, pleasant weather. In the north, freeze warnings signal autumn's arrival. A surge of warmth will bring summer-like temperatures to much of the country this weekend. Expect above-average temps in the central and eastern U.S. through mid-October. Cold fronts will interrupt the warmth, bringing drier, cooler air, especially to the East Coast next week. October is a month of transition, with big swings between warm and cool. Stay informed and prepared, whether you're watching the tropics or local weather. That's your national outlook. Now, here's what's happening in your area.